Boston. Here's Jason in Florida. Now, he's a police officer, so let's get his thoughts on this whole thing. Jason, welcome. How are you today? Well, let me hear what you have to say.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Okay, Jay.
This is disheartening for all of us down here, and we've seen it. I've actually responded to the post, and a couple of things I want to address, and I could speak from the local law enforcement. I'm not going to defend the FBI because I do think there were issues there, but you know, some of the things where they're saying the police responded 30-something times to this kid's house, I'll tell you that every town in America, there's kids similar where police officers are responding weekly to kids who parents can't control. And there's just not a lot that can be done to these kids. You go there, you straighten it up, you do what you can do, and then, you know, you're called back 2 days later because the single mother can't control their kid. But there's not a lot as law enforcement we could do. Another thing is the police and law enforcement have to be right 100% of the time. We have no room for error. So in situations like this, there could be we could have stopped 100 potential shootings. There was ones that just came up today we got bulletins on. But the one time, and it's one time too many, it goes through, and then we just can't be everywhere all the time.
So we have to give fair, Jason. So we have to not make a big deal about these 30 reports. I'll buy that. What can you do? It's a single mother. I'll buy that. But how do you explain the fact that now I know it's not your department and you're not part of them, but how do you explain the fact that the FBI had two huge leads, one as of January 5th, and did nothing about it?
That needs to be looked at, and someone might have dropped the ball on it. It definitely sounds.
But the FBI is going to spend months and every taxpayer's dollars to find out if Auburn try to get a player to go to Auburn. Nobody cares, Jason. Nobody cares.
Let me give you one more quick analogy, and we deal with it with domestic violence, and someone gets a injunction against their husband or whoever, and it's just a piece of paper. That doesn't keep the guy or girl from going out and doing something harmful. So it's just, if someone has evil intentions, they're going to do evil stuff. And I think gun control isn't the answer necessarily for everything.
I don't think it is either. I think there's a lot of other issues involved here. First off, how does the family, let me ask you it this way. And I don't want to get into this because I'm more wrapped up in the FBI. But and I know they try to do a good deed, but how does this family allow a kid who they knew was troubled to come live at their house, and he brings this kind of rifle with him and they lock it up and he has the key? How does this happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the dynamics. I don't know if they knew.
Oh, they knew. They admitted it. They knew. And if I was going to be a good Samaritan and I was going to bring a 19-year-old into my house, I'll be damned if I'm going to let him bring a 19-year-old into my house and he brings in a rifle.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, it's not an easy fix. In the politics, it's something that's got to be done at the home and the society where we've gone. It's got to be fixed. But to blame the guns. I mean, you look at Boston bomb and you look at.
It's a fact, but Jason, it's a factor. It's a factor. Yeah, there's mental illness in Europe. How many times does somebody who's mentally ill in Italy or England or Spain walk into a school and shoot 30 people?
Yeah. No, it does happen. I mean, they'll use a knife in China.
You can't kill 30 people. You can't kill 30 people with a knife. You're gonna get stopped before you do that.
No, there's no easy answer. It's sad. I mean,
well, keep your spirits up in Florida, Jason. Thanks for the call today. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, very good. There's a good caller right there. Here's Jack in Virginia. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Jack, good afternoon. How are you today?
Yes, sir. Doing all right, man. First of all, love your show. Love what you said earlier. Just to add to your point, speaking on the term of college basketball, sir, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Jack, please. Let me hear. College hoops.
All right. On a normal year without the scandals at Louisville and Michigan State, America wouldn't give 1/8 of a damn about what's going on, any kind of scandal. Now with this, before it even came out, it was already overshadowed of what happened at Michigan State and Louisville because, I mean, let's be honest, those two are probably much more severe. Let's be honest. So, again, I'm right there with you. With the fact that it seemed like the FBI put so many people on this one, or paid a lot more attention to this than they did to the leads in Florida, is disturbing, it's disappointing, disgusting even. But either way, that needs to change. I mean, good. They may have caught something at like UNC or whatever. They feel like they got a big head, but again, who cares? Nobody cares.
No, but again, did they give away the? I mean, UNC has not exactly been a bastion of good call, Jack. Not a bastion of academics, and I know they can claim that the NCAA claim they didn't have enough information, they didn't have enough manpower, so that's why they got away with that. I watched the Michigan State Purdue game last week, and Michigan State's got a lot of issues going on right now with allowing that guy on that campus for such a long period of time, and nobody seemed to be that wrapped up on that. Those fans are completely into the game. They have a sexual assault problem in East Lansing. People want the games. Here's Jeff in Jersey. You got a chance. Jeff, your turn. Let me hear. Go ahead.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
Fine, Jeff. Thank you. What's happening now? Fire away.
Hey, listen, this is with the NCAA. It's enterprise corruption, Chris. And the NCAA allows the fantasy exist. They pretend they're enforcing stuff when they don't, because the money is too huge for
NCAA doesn't have the manpower to do all this investigation. There's not that many people who work for the NCAA.
Chris.
Emmett's a fraud. I think we all know that, and he's a lousy, and he should be out. And he did a terrible job as he was the president around the country. But and the NCAA, you want to tell me they turned their back on this kind of stuff? You might be right, but Jeff, who cares? You care? Did anybody care that Sam Gilbert was paying players at UCLA for 100 years?
Well, maybe the guy at St. John's cares. Well, how about this, Chris? Maybe the Harvard guy should just start paying everybody. They got $10 billion.
Harvard doesn't care about the basketball team. Basketball team is nice. It's not a big deal to them. Harvard's got bigger fish to fry than worrying about a college basketball game. They like to win. They like to be competitive. They're proud of the fact that Amaker's done a nice job. They lessen the academic standards for some of those kids to go to Harvard. I'll buy that. But Harvard's got bigger fish to fry than whether they get to the Final Four or not.
And another point, Chris.
But again, who cares, Jeff? Who cares? Who cares? It's a victimless crime. Who cares? What, I'm supposed to care about Oregon State because UCLA cheats? I don't care about Oregon State. I'm supposed to care about Syracuse, that Louisville tries to pay to get Brian Dozier. I'm sure Syracuse, they were running. Those guys at Syracuse for years were driving SUVs and getting, never went to school. I don't care. They all stink in college basketball. They all smells. I'm not interested.
Well, Chris, then let Phil Knight let him just do an up and up. Let Phil Knight just bankroll Oregon.
Fine. I have no problem. College basketball, what it is, the kids don't go to school for the proper reasons. They go there, these big players, so they can play in the NBA. It's a disgrace. Nobody cares. You think Bagley's going to school at Duke? You think Anthony Davis went to school at Kentucky? Nobody cares. They won championships. CBS made money, ratings, advertising, brackets. Final Four tickets. Nobody cares. It's all a cesspool. You're not going to change it. Why? Because they're going to bury Bruce Pearl or Bill Self or anybody else for that matter. Or a Sean Miller. Who cares? Oh, God, who cares? Who cares? Jeez, I'm so sick of hearing it. You want to tell me that that last year that Gonzaga lost the game on purpose and shaved points? Now you got something there. That's the integrity of the sport. Now you're cooking. Now you got something. That didn't happen. You want to tell me that Wisconsin or Kentucky or one of these Final Four programs lost on purpose in a big game? Now we can discuss it. I'm not interested if some player got $100,000 to go to a certain school. It's been going on for 100 years. And they figure out a way to break the rules again. What I do care about is the FBI wasting everybody's time. When they fell asleep at the wheel and had no clue what they were doing with some kid down there shooting squirrels and having rifles and taking knife to school, getting tips left and right, they did nothing about it. Let the FBI worry about that. That's what I'm concerned about. The big picture, not the little picture. I didn't care about Victor Connie. And nor did the San Francisco Giants, nor did Bonds, nor did Clemens, and apparently not the Hall of Fame voters. 16 in front of the hour. We continue here on Mad Dog.